Hi, welcome to the Red Booth Show. Tonight's episode features the band Crazy Town, which you may have heard of. So watch our interview. Okay, so welcome to the show, you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Finally made it happen.
I know, this is fantastic.
Very cool.
This is a good Christmas present. We have Crazy Town on the show. This is Seth Binzer and Bret Mazur. Yeah, this is really cool. You guys have a new single that's just coming out.
Absolutely. Super stoked about that. And
Cool. What's it called?
single's called Megatron.
Okay.
And
Transformers.
Yeah.
not really, but
Really?
yeah.
We like the sound of it. Megatron is just a great word.
It is.
Yeah.
So the song is our Megatron.
And really it's just about like we're working on a lot of songs that had a lot of like deep kind of emotional value to them.
And this wasn't one of them.
This was more so about
This
like
was us having a good time.
having a good time in that feeling of it in a way it is kind of deep, you know, like when you turn that corner and you totally commit to something, like whether it be like you're gonna go on a diet or you're gonna ask that person out or you've just decided you're gonna make that move.
Yeah.
And you're really committed to it and you just feel great about it. That's that Megatron
Yeah,
feeling.
this is like, let's go. Let's
Yeah.
do it. It's time. Like, let's make this happen.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So
When you're working on the album and you're making the music together, like what roles do you both play when you're working together?
well, basically, it's always different. You know, Bret obviously he's always been the producer
Right.
of Crazy Town.
Yeah.
But the last couple records, we brought in another producer to do like the overall like live instrumentation and stuff like that, to take what we had done in the studio and make it,
Right.
you know, bigger with live instruments. Kind of, not necessarily bigger, but this record, you know, Bret produced it and we wrote it together. And
Awesome.
we have some amazing young new kids that are our band and have some great, you know, other friends that, you know, made appearances on the record. And, you know, so basically this record was made in-house. It's us.
We just wanted to make all the calls. Like our last record we did with amazing producer. I ended up doing some work with him afterwards on some other projects too. His name's Howard Benson, and
Wow.
We love him.
he's won a couple of Grammys. I think at least one. I think for My Chemical Romance. But
Wow.
Wasn't for us.
but in that, you know, it's funny because, you know, for me, I felt like when you're going to be the artist and produce, it's a lot of hats to wear. So having a good, you know, a third opinion and outside perspective is good.
Yeah.
But it could also be bad sometimes if your original inspiration
Doesn't line up.
it doesn't line up or if it doesn't continue. And so as much as we love Howard and everything, in a sense, this new record is really the second record that we never got a chance to make.
Yeah, definitely.
Because this is the one that you're finally doing, just like kind of on your own.
This one is, it's very similar to the first record. You know, we wanted to keep it exactly like we did the first record, and that's why it's called the Brimstone Sluggers.
That was our original
your-
name.
It was our original name.
That's right.
So
That's cool. So that's the name of your new album that's coming out, right? Not just the EP, but the album is called Brimstone Sluggers.
yes.
Cool.
And Bret and I have, you know, there's something when we work together that has always been special. And, you know, we listen to each other, you know, and I'll you know, we'll finish the song and I'll go listen to it and I'll hear something. And Bret will understand what I mean.
Yeah, I'll get these random calls at like, you know, early in the morning, like, so I was listening to the songs and I think on Megatron, you know.
Right.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you guys have a really good creative vibe together, then, like, you know, that's what makes it all possible to, like, really create music. And I think that's so important to have that type of connection.
Yeah.
That's probably why you guys have, you know, been able to work together for all this time.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And I think the story about how you guys met is really cool, too. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Actually, Bret went to Taft.
You're going way back.
Bret went to Taft.
High school.
I went to Pali. But anyway, Bret had been a producer for a long time when he was like young. New Edition had like a contest, and he was like a young hip hop kid who made beats, and they came to his high school. He gave them a CD of his beats, and he ended up producing the Belle Biv DeVoe record, like 4 or 5 songs on that record, and it turned into a big production career for him, which he did MC Light.
Amazing.
I mean, my
MC
choice,
Surge,
my
all kinds of cool people. Eazy-E.
when I was in,
Wow.
I was already, by the time I was, what would have been a semester into my first year of college, I already had a record on the charts as a producer, so that was enough to convince my mom and dad that it was okay for me not to go to college. So
That was the Belle Biv DeVoe album?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So, and things, really progressed to the point where, as a kid, I'm doing all these big productions and remixes for bands and artists that are iconic, and then some that I was really proud of and some that I wasn't so proud of. Going back, I wouldn't feel that way, because any opportunity you get to do what you love as a passion is amazing. But, at the time I wanted to be struggling and 21 and making hip hop records. And so I left that partnership and through knowing Eazy-E from NWA, they wanted me to bring in some new artists. So I brought two groups to Eazy-E and Ruthless Records, and one was Blood of Abraham, and then the other was the App Band Clan, and the App Band Clan is really the Black Eyed Peas.
Oh, wow.
So in working with on the first Black Eyed Peas record, and I'm picking Will up from East LA, from home, he was living in the projects with his mom, and just like the sweetest, like greatest, like focused kid you ever met, and bring him to my loft downtown, and we're working on their record and just loving what we're doing. And it was his idea, basically. He said, "You got to meet my boy Seth. I know him from the clubs. He raps. I think you guys would hit it off. Maybe you guys can start a group together." And started bringing Seth to the studio, and you can take it from there.
We started recording songs, and first we started the Brimstone Sluggers, and that turned into Crazy Town.
So you went to school with will.i.am, right?
Yeah, I went to school with him at Pally, and we used to rap, at lunchtime, and
That's awesome.
then, he just had something special, so I would pick him up from his little house in the projects at that time. I'd drive down there, and I'd be like, "You got to go to this freestyle competition because you're gonna win." And I would go pick him up, and I was kind of like, I would always, support him and tell him that he had to be places. He's like, "How am I gonna get there?" I'd be like, "I'm gonna get you, and we're gonna go." And he would win.
Wow.
Every time he would win.
Wow.
The Hip Hop Shop, right?
The Hip Hop Shop, Ballistics.
Yeah.
Different ones. And actually, he kind of got scouted. That's kind of how he got the record deal over at Ruthless.
Wow.
So,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's right, because then you brought him in, and then they asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know how that happened. Actually, I guess it was him.
It was it takes a village.
Totally.
A lot. I was just speaking to Violet Brown, who's an amazing woman, and she runs Strange Music for Tech Nine, and I don't.
Oh, wow.
So, and she's an icon in the industry, and we were talking a month ago about that whole situation, and her recollection is slightly different than mine, and like I had to kind of be like, oh, kind of, but I didn't, I don't want to tell somebody like that, I think
actually.
yeah. So I left that alone. Yeah.
That's good. But that's really amazing that you had to do with so many big, huge hit songs back then, so early on. That's your amazing talent.
A lot of it is luck. A lot of it is timing.
Well, also you had the balls, I could say, to go up to them and give them your demo tape, right? So
yeah.
That's.
Yeah, and now more than ever with the industry, you just you have to connect, and there's always going to be somebody coming up after you that's more talented. At the end of the day, what you can rely on is what you bring to the table that's unique to you, and you know, like I said, and whether no matter what it is in this crazy town, whether it be if you're an actor or a writer or recording artist or whatever you do in this industry of entertainment, it takes tenacity, timing, and talent. And a lot of the times, you know, work ethic and whether or not people like you and want to do business with you trumps all of that. So, you know, especially these days, you could have all the talent in the world, but if you're an asshole, nobody's going to give you the time of day.
That's true.
Yeah.
It does take a lot of people to collaborate just to make, you know, even one album, I guess.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
And same with TV and with movies and everything. It's like such a group sort of thing.
Especially that, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So is that why you guys named it Crazy Town, or what did you guys name it after?
I mean, in a sense, yeah.
Yeah, in a sense. You know, I'd actually had a group of friends that I grew up with that were called the West Side Crazies.
Oh, really?
And I wanted to incorporate that somehow. So I was up one night and I came up with Crazy Town. I also always loved Dogtown. I was a skater kid. And I kind of just meshed them together. I was like, Crazy Town. And, you know, when I told Bret, you know, he was like, let's do it.
That's good. Let's roll with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And,
so cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, so obviously once we hooked up, I was more of like just a little graffiti skateboarding kid, bad kid from the west side of LA. And when we hooked up, I'd been rapping, you know, it was my dream. It was what I wanted to do. I'd been rapping my whole life. So when I hooked up with Bret, you know, I had lots of little demos and stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, one of them that Will had produced.
Oh, really?
But when I hooked up with Bret, it was just perfect because the production value was there, and it actually took what my vision was and his vision was, and it just made something that was really, you know, high quality, and you know, it was the first time that it was very real. So
was that the first album that you guys came out with that had Butterfly on it?
It was the first record that came out. You know, we were in the scene, and we
those songs actually, the first songs never really made that album.
There is actually a missing record that we did.
Oh, wow.
That a couple people will run into us every once in a while and be like, I have a copy of that. And when we find it, we'll put it out. But
that's cool.
Yeah.
So then you guys did that album. What was that album like? How did you guys get that album going? The one with Butterfly.
It's kind of a cool story. We were both a little wild, and we ended up in rehab at the same time. And we used to do like a song and celebrate for a month. And everyone would be like, this is great. This is great. And, you know, well, are you guys going to try to do something with this? And we're like, of course. And what happened is, you know, we just never got the right mixture of songs to actually shop it.
If we would have just had our heads on straight, we would have
come out 5 years
we would have
later.
just focused and then, you know, done the 2 or 3 or 4 song package we needed to do to shop around.
Right.
And it would have happened in a week or two. But it really took a long time, and
which also led us to our sound.
Yeah,
it's kind of the way it was supposed to be. You know?
The process is the process, and
we met a lot of people on that journey that helped us actually become and have the feedback that we got. You know, we were hanging out with Orgy and Korn, and
I had a loft downtown.
Yeah.
And I lived there, and that's where the studio was, and there was always an after party going on after the clubs, and you know, on any given night, you know, just a lot of big names, and even for me, I'm like, oh shit, who's here right now? You know, that's pretty cool. And people would be hearing some of this Crazy Town stuff, and it started to become the talk of the town in a way. You know, big bands are talking to their labels about it. We're showing up at studios to meet with kind of like, you know, pretty important people, and you know, everybody wants what somebody else wants, you know,
right.
or is going to get. And it just, all of a sudden we found ourselves in the eye of the storm, and it started really bubbling up. And then right in the middle of all that hype, Seth had to go away to rehab.
First I went to prison. But that was only a short stint.
So that's good.
Yeah.
So I told Seth that, like, you know, like, all right, you know, let's get our lives together. And I told him I was gonna, you know, get my life together. And mind you, I already had platinums on the wall, so it's like, you know, like this was ridiculous for us to be like going through this at this time, but you know, we had to get it together. And so I found myself in a different treatment center. This is 90
At the same time?
at 98, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So when we both got out, basically, we really, you know, now we're clear-headed and we're focused. And from the time that we both got out, it took about 11 months, and we found ourselves with, you know, in the middle of a bidding war, and with
like people that we had looked up to offering us record deals, and we're in all the magazines, like talking about the band buzzing right now is Crazy Town, and we're meeting with David Geffen and Steven Spielberg and Donnie Einer and
well, no, it was Mo Austin who said.
Was it Mo?
It was Mo.
Okay,
and
it was
he
Mo
said,
Austin.
And Mo said,
Yeah.
Mo said, I know you guys are about to sign with Columbia Records, but what do I need to do to sign you guys? This was at DreamWorks. And he's like, I'll get Geffen and Spielberg on the phone right now. And as far as we were concerned, Columbia Records had already, you know, given us on paper everything that we were looking for. But Mo Austin's offering to double it. But, you know, for us, it was like DreamWorks was still unproven as a record company. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Columbia Records is iconic. So
that was actually your father. What? He was kind of like laid out. Here's your options. Mm-hmm. The smart thing to do. Columbia Records is a machine. It has been there for many years. They have had much success, and they know what they're doing. And over here, you've got Spielberg money, and you've got DreamWorks, and you've got all these guys who have come together and started a company, but they haven't put out any records. And so it scares me a little whether or not it's going to work perfectly. Mm-hmm. So if you have the option of going to both, do you want to go with something that has been proven to make people's careers huge, or do you want to go with something that they'll give you a lot of money and it might fall through the cracks and you'll get shelved? So...
Needless to say, their answer to not signing Crazy Town was signing Papa Roach. So they ended up doing it. Yeah,
their machine ended up working just great.
Yeah. Those are a bunch of talented
Actually,
guys.
Yeah.
There's been times when we were like, we should have gone there, you know? But we
Both
did.
are
we
really
did,
good options.
and we had, you know, Donnie Einer saying, you know, if you come here, I'm going to make this work.
The chairman of Columbia Records.
Yes, at the time.
Yeah.
Cool guy. But he was kind of like, I'm going to make this work. And so
we
did that.
And that was a
he
huge
did.
album.
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
You know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now you were just recently on tour, right?
We did a little run in Europe. Yep, right at the beginning of the summer, and that was amazing.
Yeah, and it was good. It was good for the soul, actually, that tour, because we'd been gone for a while, and we went there and didn't know what to expect. You know, we sold a lot of records over there, but we didn't know what kind of response we were going to get. And it was 10 times what we pictured. It was like people gave us so much love, and the audiences knew all the words. And when we'd play new songs, it was like they'd heard them before. And, you know,
that must have been so awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool and amazing.
Is this going to be, are some of the songs going to be coming out on this next album that you guys played when you were on tour?
Yeah.
You want to tell us about some of them so we can...
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really cool songs. There's a song called Born to Raise Hell that I love, that we did with
Jay
Angel.
He's a
big
big songwriter. He's a friend of ours. I think he has 2 new songs on the new Rihanna record.
Wow.
And he's got a really dope band called Guns That Kill Kings. They'll be coming out. So we did that with him. And
cool.
Born to Raise Hell is, you know, basically sometimes, you know, just looking at your life, sometimes you feel like you were born to raise hell, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't want to get
too deep, but, you know, there's some really cool songs on there. I mean, we have a song called Light the Way. Mm-hmm. That is one of my favorites on the record. And
well,
I guess you have to hear it, you know?
You know, that's a good idea. Why don't we play a little sample of your new EP?
Yep.
This is
Megatron,
our first single off the Brimstone Suckers album.
Okay, great.
And it always drives me up the wall. Anytime I'll always risk it all. action to coming of age. I'm turning the page perception. Not Jimmy, but Zeppelin, I'm wrecking. Into the ground, I'm loud and I'm proud. My sound is under discretion. No question, I am the future. I'm giving out lessons. I am your tutor. Was known as a loser, but look at me now. I'm as good as when I was a shooter.
And we're going to take a quick break.
I really wanted to put a deck on my house.
The floor was creaking, and there were cracks in the wall.
I had them put in walls in my basement.
Well, the whole thing was done on time, on budget, and not a day of work was missed.
Alpha Structural is a top-rate company. I'd recommend them to anybody.
If you live in a hillside home and gravity is pulling you towards the edge of the cliff, I recommend you call Alpha.
It was a real pleasure to work with Alpha.
So the fact that you guys have gone through rehab and, you know, you're living a clean life, I think that's really, really awesome and admirable. And I love to support that, you know, and let people know that that's a good way to go. And I thought it'd be really cool if you were to say some words about that too.
Well, it has been an interesting process for us. You know, obviously, we had a big success, and with that came a lot of like traveling and parties and everything. And you know, at first you dibble and dabble, and you know you're using drugs, and after a while the drugs start using you, and it kind of cripples you, your creativity and your ability to show up and be the best you can be. And for me, you know, after a few deaths, you know, I lost one of my best friends in the world to a heroin overdose, and we lost our DJ and our guitar player.
Our DJ Am, he was sober for 11 years and
went
had
out.
a relapse.
Yeah, had a relapse, and you know, we lost him.
That's so terrible.
So
I'm really sorry
I'm this
to hear that.
over emotional creature. I kind of really got angry with God and started partying really hard, and you know, anyway, you know, that turned into a whole, you know,
TV show?
yeah, TV show.
That's right. You
And,
were on Celebrity Rehab.
Yeah, I was on Celebrity Rehab, and they kept bringing me back.
Which I never believed in. It always pissed me off because I don't think that's the right way to tackle something like that. Because,
Well, yeah, because they take you in for 21 days and then they set you free with a big check, and it, you know, I mean, it takes more time than that to actually grasp something. Plus, it's hard to do it when you're on TV, and you know, then it turned into another show that was about living sober after you got out of rehab, and you know, it was interesting. You know, I think Dr. Drew is great. I don't know if I just, you know, don't know if it was good or bad for me. You know, I think he's great, but I think it might have been bad for me. And I think, you know, I wasn't in the right state of mind when they asked me to do it. Mm-hmm. It was kind of like I had all these money issues and I was going through all this stuff, and they're like, do you want a big check and we're going to put you on TV? And I was like, sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, now after I've been clean, you know what, I'm coming up on 3 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
awesome.
Like I wouldn't do it if they asked me now.
well, hopefully not. You don't need it.
Yeah,
right
I don't
now.
need it now, but you know what I'm saying.
That's good.
But so anyway,
No, I have about 8 years. I'm coming up on 8 years. This December, this month.
Wow.
So the thing is,
That's awesome.
you know, I just remember looking back. I didn't know you can get sober. I didn't know there was an answer. And like he was saying, you're using the drugs first, and then they start using you. And when you find yourself on the flip side of that thing, if anybody's watching that doesn't, you know, like I could never imagine anybody going through life on a daily basis not having some sort of vice or crutch. But, you know, life has just gotten better, you know, and you get to know yourself. And, you know, I hang out with friends that, like, the other night I'm hanging out with friends. We're sitting around the fire pit and they're just drinking and having a good time. They're looking at me. They're like, how do you get funnier the more that we drink? I'm like, because I don't need to do it anymore, you know.
So you don't even drink anymore.
I don't do anything.
nothing.
That's amazing. Wow, you guys, that's really like serious kudos to you for that.
Yeah, no, we
Especially here, I mean, in LA
no,
with
we
everything.
don't do anything that affects us from the neck up. And, you know,
That's a good.
but it's not because, you know, if all we got out of it was just not using and drinking, we wouldn't do it. It's a spiritual program, and it's everything that you get from not doing those things. It's not just about It's about the life that you get
Yep.
from it.
Life that you get back.
The life that you get back and the life that you get to achieve that was never possible,
Yeah.
before that, because we have a program, that helps us work on ourselves and helps us, we have a disease of perception, so
Yeah, it gets pretty deep.
it gets pretty deep.
But life gets amazing, and now, like, before I was destroying myself. Now, I work out consistently. I eat well. My relationships with my family and the people I love and my kids are
So great.
I'm fixing everything that was broken. And when I'm out of my mind, I can't be present in my life.
Totally.
And I recently got married, and to an
Congratulations.
amazing woman that I met in yoga, which I never would have been there if I was partying. So it's
That's right. We were going to have her come and sit with us for a little bit.
Say hi, yeah.
You want to come over and say hello?
Come on, Ashiko.
Come on, Ashiko.
Come on and
Don't
sit
be
with
shy.
us. Come and say hi. The beautiful Ashiko.
Ashiko.
Hello.
Yeah, this is what happens. You get stuff like this
place.
when you get clean. You get
You look
stuff like
great.
this.
That's right.
Cat's not here, but
I know.
Cat's
we should have
not
like a
here.
nice
Yeah.
little
he's got one
family
too.
reunion.
Yeah, I got one too.
He's got one too.
You have a nice wife too.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Cat's with their mom right now. They're car shopping. So
Oh, nice.
love you.
Good
Very cool,
time.
girl.
Hi,
Yeah.
Cat. Hi, Cat.
Congratulations to you guys on your wonderful wedding, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
I see all of your like lovebird posts and everything. It's
Oh my
so
gosh.
cute and it's awesome.
Seth, right? It's all because of him. His Instagram.
Well, I also think that's really cool because a lot of people who are in music they sort of promote this lifestyle of I should say not settling down.
Right.
The opposite of that, like where the whole thing with women is kind of out of control.
Right.
And so the fact that you're, promoting like having a real like solid loving relationship is like really, really cool. So I'm very happy for you guys.
It's just crazy to find anybody that could put up with him on a
Oh my
daily
gosh,
basis.
right? Am I crazy now? People probably question my sanity.
I do 100%.
Do you question my sanity?
Absolutely.
I scare you, Bret.
I question both of you guys.
That's so cute.
Match made in heaven.
He's a handful.
Yeah.
Apparently I am.
She is too.
In some little ways.
She's better at hiding it.
And you guys matched together perfectly.
Yes.
Thank
And you did that awesome shoot with Dita Von Tess just recently.
Yeah, I did. I got the great opportunity to shoot her lingerie campaign
Wow.
here in LA, and
Congratulations.
yeah, she's an amazing woman. Well, I mean, like yourself, when I saw you, it reminded me of her. and-
Wow, really? Thank
Yeah,
you. That's a great compliment.
Yeah. So
That's
yeah, it's
really
great.
cool.
A lot of opportunities here in LA. I moved here from Canada, so it's pretty good.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
I hope I look okay on camera.
You look fantastic.
I don't know. Thank you.
Well, she's a good actress as well too.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
So there's more coming.
I look forward.
yeah.
I look
This is
forward
Ashiko.
to having you back. When you have some more projects to share with us.
Exactly.
I'd love to
She's the
come
one
here.
that you need to do a show about.
Okay, now you're being really sweet. That's
Speaking of being a good actor,
Uh-huh.
I think Ashiko should do her line from the Old Spice commercial.
Oh my God! You have an Old Spice commercial. It's so
Big
funny.
things.
I got big things. I got this really big one line on the Old Spice commercial. I feel a bit silly now that
It's cool.
Okay,
It's with
what
a
is it?
robot.
What's
It's-
the line? I've
it's
got to hear this.
well, it's this new campaign they're doing with the robot. I guess he smells amazing.
He's the
and
most
he's fooling
amazing.
all the women. The women
Yes.
don't realize he's like a robot.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because he
Okay.
smells so much
Yeah.
like a man.
That's exactly what they're going for. So I'm, apparently I'm having dinner with my boyfriend in the spot, and then I guess the robot, he's up on some stairs, and he falls on my table and looks at me and says, "Is this seat taken?" And I'm just mesmerized by this smell, and I'm just like, "Oh, it is now."
I was thinking what did you work out any other ways to say that? Like how many other ways could you say that?
Yeah.
As an actress, there's many different ways
Ways
I
to
can,
say there is now.
interpret
You could say,
the whole
like-
situation.
You could say it is now.
Yeah.
It is.
It's all about
it
the
is.
emphasis.
It is, and
It is now.
right, yeah. There were several takes and a lot of input, from.
But you went with the best one, which is
But it was all in the way she twirls her
That's right.
hair.
It was
think I
all
twirl
in
my
the
hair,
twirls
right?
her hair.
It
And
was
you
more
said-
like
Yeah, it's very seductive.
Yeah, it was so authentic that I don't even know if I could actually do it again. I think
It
they went
was
with that
it was
one
like this.
authentic
It was
take.
like this. It is now.
You're right.
Yeah,
it
that's
was.
right.
It was like, oh boy, you got me all hot and bothered.
That's pretty awesome.
It's like when we're working on a hook.
Yeah.
Right? We have to
There you
make
go,
sure we
there's-
say it right.
The next chorus for another song you can use.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's gonna be me.
Exactly.
So.
Thank you for watching Crazy Town on
The Red Booth.
All right, good. Okay, good. Thank you.